Okay, so now let's talk about EC2 instance types. So there are different types of EC2 instances that you can use for different use cases, and they have different types of optimization. And let's go check out this link, and we'll see we have, for now, 7 different types of EC2 instances. So this website on the AWS website is what we're interested into. And as we can see, we have different types of instances. We have general purpose, compute optimized, memory optimized, and so on. And so for each type of instance, we have different families. And so as we can see, this website is going to be the reference for us to look at EC2 instance types and know their cost and know their specificity. What I'm going to do, though, is just walk you through a high-level overview of how they work in AWS. AWS will have the following naming convention. For example, we'll be talking about a M5.2x large type of instance. What does that mean? Well, M is going to be called the instance class, okay? And this is going to be, for example, in this case, a general purpose type of instance. 5 is the generation of the instance. So as AWS improves the hardware over time, it will release a new generation of hardware. And so after M5, if they improve the M type of instance class, then it will go to M6. And then finally, the 2x large represent the size within the instance class. So it starts as small and then large and then 2x large, 4x large, and so on. So it represents the size of the instance. And the more the size, the more the memory, the more the CPU you're going to have on your instance. So from an exam perspective, what do you need to know? Well, we'll talk about a few different type of instance types. So you have general purpose, and these are great for a diversity of workloads such as web servers or code repositories. They will have a good balance between compute, memory, networking. And so in this course, we'll be using general purpose instances. We'll be using the T2 micro, which is the free tier general purpose type of instance. On the website that I just showed you, you will see all the different types of instance that are general purpose. And this is going to evolve over time, so I won't update this slide, but you can always refer back to the AWS website to check what the instances are in the general purpose type of family. Then we have compute optimized. And these are instances that are great and optimized for compute intensive tasks. So what requires a high level of processor? Well, for example, it could be if you're batch processing some data, if you're doing media transcoding, if you need high performance web servers, if you're doing high performance computing, it's called HPC, if you're doing machine learning, or if you have a dedicated gaming server. So all these things are tasks that require a very good CPU, a very good compute side. And so EC2 instances do have this kind of particularity. And for now, all the compute optimized instances in EC2 are of the C name. So C5, C6, and so on. Next, we have some EC2 instances that are memory optimized, and they are going to have a really fast performance for the type of workloads that will process large data sets in memory. So memory means RAM. And so the use cases are, this is going to be high performance for relational or non-relational databases that are mostly going to be in-memory databases. Distributed web scale cache stores, so for Elastic Cache, for example. In-memory databases that are optimized for business intelligence or BI. And applications performing real-time processing of big unstructured data. So in terms of the names for the memory optimized instances, there's going to be the R series because R stands for RAM, but there's also going to be X1, high memory, and Z1. Again, you don't need to remember the name of the instances, but good to know at a high level. Okay. And finally, we'll have storage optimized instances. They're great when you are accessing a lot of data sets on the local storage. And so the use cases for storage optimized instances are going to be high frequency online transaction processing, so OLTP systems, relational and NoSQL databases, and we'll see those in details when we get to the database sections, cache for in-memory databases, for example, Redis, data warehousing application, distributed file systems, and the storage optimized instances in AWS will start with an I, a D, or H1. Okay, but again, don't have to remember this. I'm just giving you examples. So what does it mean? Let's compare a few instance types. So for example, for T2 micro, we have one vCPU and one gigabytes of memory. And if you look, for example, at the R5 16x large, we have 16 vCPU and 512 gigabytes of memory. So we can see there's a lot of more emphasis on the memory. If we compare it, for example, to a C5D 4x large, we can see we have 16 vCPU and 32 gigabytes of memory. So less memory, more CPU, and so on different network performance, different EBS bandwidth, and so on. So just to give you a point of comparison. And because we're using T2 Micro in this course, it is part of the AWS free tier, so we get up to 750 hours per month of T2 Micro. And if you wanted a website to compare all the EC2 instances together, there's one that I really like. It's called ec2instances.info, and I'll show it to you right now. So I am on the ec2instances.info website, and as we can see, we have a list of all the instances available in AWS, so really a lot. We also get some information around the Linux on-demand cost, the Linux reserved cost, and so on, so some cost information. We get information around the memory, the number of vCPU. We can order by name, we can search it, so it's quite handy, and I really like this website, and if you go and use AWS, you probably will use this website as well. So that's it for this lecture. I hope you liked it, and I will see you in the next lecture.